everyone, happy Friday. Thank you for joining me here tonight. We are working on my leader and ender quilt. It's Finish It Friday, where we break out a project that we haven't worked on in a while. This is all made out of clothing, and I sew it. I sew the little pieces while I'm sewing other projects. It's my beginning and ending piece while I sew other projects. So it's a magic quilt. I'm loving it, and it's getting we're piling up on it again. So we're gonna sew some stuff together and reduce it again down to the blocks. So thanks again for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter, and I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And I'm here for about an hour, and we work on projects from beginning to end so you can be part of the whole process. So thanks for joining me here. Again, we are working through some of the pieces that we got done, just sewing them while we're sewing other projects, and this is just getting too bulky for my little basket that they all sit in. So it's time to sew these guys into more quilt blocks. So let's get going on that. All right, hello everyone. I see you popping in here. So it is Finish It Friday, the first week of the month, the first Friday of a new month. We stop our normal project, which is we've been working on the granny square quilt here. We stopped working on that yesterday, finished it up yesterday, and today we're going to work on my leader and ender quilt. So again, this is the little pieces. I have this nearby me. I have a light pile and a dark pile of squares, and I've been sewing them together. So here's the diagonal. I've been sewing a 1/4 inch on either side of the diagonal. So when we cut these in half, we get a half square triangle unit on that side and an additional one on this side. So after we trim those down, I have been sewing them into strips of 5, and after that we have been sewing them into blocks of 25 here. So that's kind of the plan. I think I have 10 of these now. So this is all out of recycled clothing and recycled like a recycled blanket. I'm thinking that's what this was, this green or this white with the green dots that I'm using as my light color. But I'm just doing this while I work on other projects. Just, you know, at the when you sew a seam, a lot of times you have a leader, which is a little piece, usually scrap. So like here's one what someone quilter might normally use, just a little piece of scrap, and it reduces the having like those long things of thread when you start sewing. So you just sew a little piece of fabric there, and that takes care of the long pieces of thread. So instead of sewing fabric, like just a random piece of fabric, I'm instead sewing actual squares together. So I'll be working on a project, and then I'll just sew one seam here, and then I'll just throw them in my basket when I'm done. So when the basket gets too much stuff in it, like it did, all of this stuff was in it, it's time to take a moment and sew them into squares again. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I think we'll make some more squares. We'll press these and then sew them. But one thing I wanted to let you guys know, and I'm letting you guys know first, there's going to be an email for this tomorrow, so check your email. But I did put a pre-order for the Stiletto making kit up on the website. So it's a pre-order for it. It's going to look a little different than this, but it's going to be like really pretty, like a turquoise center, the flat stone, and then like some other like stone colored beads for the edge and stuff for these two. It's going to be so pretty. I do have a pre-order up at penguinandfish.com now. It's under supplies. I didn't put a link here, but if you go to penguinandfish.com, shop, and then supplies, it'll be the first listing there. So I'm letting you guys know so you have first dibs. I'm going to be shipping, once I get all the supplies for them, I'll be shipping them in the order that we received orders. So we may run out of the first pre-order. So I wanted to let you guys know that that's happening. It's listed, and you can check that out as well. All right, let's press these. So I've already kind of divided these in half. So I don't know. There's the same amount of each. I don't know if I really needed to do that. I think we're going to just sew these together right away. So I'm going to just, well, I don't know. We could sew all of these in one direction and all of these in the other direction and then put our rows together. Let's do that still. That was my original intention by dividing these up in the basket. So let's just do that. It'll make it easy for us. I want to get these out of the way first because they're bulky, and then if we have time yet, we'll start processing these guys. This is what takes a while, because we have to cut them and trim them. Really, this could be one of our enders, but I'd rather just get it done. So let's just do that. So I'm going to flip this over. I think I even stack these all the same. Let's press them all. These ones will press all to the left, and the other ones will press all to the right, and then we can nest the seams to make these fillers here. So pressing the seams all to the left on this side. Which is hard. It's got all these other little seams that are wanting to bend. Alright. I bet you I could do more than one of these at once. Let's get like a pile up here. So these will all be to the left. So let me know how your Friday is going. It got chilly, chilly, chilly here. Alright. I know I'm still kind of doing this one at a time, but I'm plopping them down in multiples so I can keep moving. All this, the pressing and cutting again, taking up our time. Always the part I forget takes tons of time. Oh, I think there we go. Oh, so Jenna put the link in the Facebook group for the pre-order. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm missing some of your comments. So I'll have to look through your comments again, you guys. So Jenna is helping with comments too, it looks like, so that's good. But yeah, we also have the embroidery of the month happening, the bundles and everything, so we have a few of those left. Oh, that's one of the ones that I sewed in the wrong direction. There were a couple of those. We're just going to put them in the quilt as is. This will feel good. This kind of feels like cleaning to me. Like it's slow motion cleaning. I'm slow motion getting rid of these clothes and slow motion just kind of cleaning up that basket that all of these kind of live in. That's what all my crafting is nowadays, since I'm trying to use up the supplies and fabric that I have. It's all slow motion cleaning. Oh, Charlisa just pre-ordered the kit. Thank you. Awesome! Yeah, so we just listed it today, and we're going to send an email out about it tomorrow. So we wanted to let you guys here know before that email goes out. But yeah, I'm super stoked for that project. I think it's going to be really fun. We probably won't be shipping them till mid to end of March, but we'll definitely let you guys know if supplies and stuff come sooner. But it's going to be fun. Nice little gifty project, and I love my stiletto so much. So we're going to be making some pretty similar to those. Oh, Chile only 14 degrees in Alaska. Man, I think we're quite a bit lower than 14 degrees right now. We might be in the, like, I think it was 6 degrees today, and right now it's got to be colder than that. We're going to have wind chill of below zero for sure tomorrow, I think. Ugh. We haven't really had that yet this year, which is odd. I guess it is February, but I don't know. Usually we have some hefty cold days. It's been pretty mild this winter, which has been great. Suppose I had to get cold at some point. So these are the last two of the ones that I'm going to press to the left. I guess they're actually pointing to the right, but when they're upside down, they're going to the left. And I think we'll just sew rows and rows of these together. I think I'll just lay out a few blocks right here and we'll just go on a sewing spree. Just sewing all the strips together, and it'll just be, I'll have to keep everything in order. That's the trick. All right, so now these ones, we want to press the opposite direction, and then we'll trade off rows. So let's see how that works. This may have been a dumb way to do this, but oh well. It might have been smarter to lay out all the blocks first, and then just, pick up the ones that we press one way and the other. This we might end up with, let's see, with like a weird, like too many of one and not enough of the other or something. We'll see. We can always press in the other direction. Okay, that's the next row. Oh, and are you using steam while pressing? I'm not, although it probably would be a good idea. I've actually never tried water in this iron yet, which seems crazy because I've had this iron for quite a while. But no, I'm not using steam. So I mean that would help for sure to squish these down a little bit better. Sometimes steam can stretch things out, but I'm not really worried about that because this is old clothing that's completely stretched and washed and weird. And I have not done the best job at cutting, or I'm being kind of sloppy with this project, which is fine. It's kind of meant to be. So steam, if it stretched out a little bit, it wouldn't really matter. So I don't know, maybe I should next time we work on this, maybe I should try some steam in there. Let's set it back on the thing while I lay out the next couple bits. Oh, another one that I did backwards. Yep, I had a couple of those. All right, press it this way. It's actually easier to press it this way because the seams are already going that direction. Except for this one that I did backwards. That one's going to be weird, but... Flip them around, hit them on the front. I just love that this is from old clothing and stuff, though. I have to go through... It's time to go through all my crap again. I keep saying that. I'm gradually trying to just clean out the house again. It's that time of year, I suppose, but I have bins of this old fabric... Not fabric, just old clothing that for some reason I'm like, that can be used for fabric. I'll keep that. It's time to open up those bins again and see what we got in there and see if I still want to save it, or just bring it up and start chopping it up here again. add it to this project. But yeah, time to use it or lose it, I think. So I do have some Best Press spray. Oh, sew all backwards at the same block, then rotate. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I could have, well, I only have a few more, so I'll just keep doing it this way. But yeah, I could have sewn them all one direction and just flipped, well, divided it up still, and then flipped the second half, and then just kept the same direction. I should have done that, because that would have been a little bit easier. Oh, well. We're done now. That's a good efficiency, though. Then I can just get in the groove of my hand going in the same direction. This is actually, I'm just doing this with my left hand now. It's actually a bit nicer than when I was doing it with my right hand. And now I'm hitting the top with my right hand. Kind of funny. I feel like I'm just starting to get in the groove of it. It's always how it is. You're almost done by the time you feel like you're catching on to it. Alright, we just got one more round of these, and then I'm just going to lay these out. We'll see what we got here. We'll see how many of these are going to make. These smell like old clothes. I mean, these have all been washed, but it still just smells like it's been sitting around forever. Just kind of weird. I'm excited for this quilt, though. This is going to be just like a nice, cozy, traditional, like, comfy quilt. Something that could be in a cabin or something. Kimberly's like, Alyssa, you're not a secret hoarder, are you? Oh, I'm trying to not be. But, yeah, I mean, I just gotta go through every space and just start getting rid of stuff. I don't know. That is a hard question to answer. That's why I don't want to buy anything new. I just want to use these things up. All right, so now I have this pile is pressed one way and this pile is pressed the other. So I want to just kind of make some blocks, and we're going to just trade off. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then these guys will go in the middle. I just want to see how many of these I can put together and just still have laying here. So I had 3 on this one, so now I'm going to do 3 on this one. I don't know if this is the best idea, but we're in it now. Okay, 1, 2. All right, let's just see if I can fit a pile of these on my table here. I'm gonna move the granny square quilt. I haven't cleaned up from yesterday yet. That's kind of my weekend project, is cleaning up all this stuff. So let's put my finished ones here, and I'm gonna use the rest of this space. Let's just scooch these up. We'll have to reach and grab tonight. But I would love to sew all these up. That'd be big. All right, 1, 2, 3. But I think ultimately I'm going to assemble this so it just looks like a whole ton of half square triangles. I don't think I'm going to add sashing. I don't think it's going to be any of that. I think it's just going to literally be a whole pile of triangles in a quilt. I think they'll be kind of neat. Kind of traditional, and I like it. Okay, I don't think I have enough left over for another one. I just have 3. Ooh, and it's stuck on my machine here. Okay, I just have 3. So these ones I'll save for later, I suppose. Although I really could sew them together, couldn't I? Let's sew them together. And it'll be the start of another one. I gotta check the seam allowances though. So okay, these ones go here. Okay, there. So here's the last one. we'll just do 3, and then we'll just have to add to that later. So all right, I think the plan is, first of all, I'm gonna move this guy out of the way. He's the weird one. I gotta have that be like the last one that I do or something. So I think I'm going to I don't know. Should we do... I'm just trying to think of like the best way to do this now. I could do the first 2 rows in every one, and then just keep going around and around in a circle. That might be a decent way to do this. The other way I could do this is so the first 2 rows and then the last 2 rows, or the first 2 rows and the next 2 rows in each one. So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then so the last bit on it at the end. You know, the easiest route for me might just be to go around in a circle. Then you can keep track of things. Let's just maybe do that. So I'm gonna start. We'll start with this one that doesn't have hardly any on. I'm gonna start with this, and I'm just gonna go clockwise. All right, so I just have to remember that I'm going clockwise. Okay, that's the plan. I'm just gonna grab, and if they do end up being, you know, if I don't put them in the right one, it's not going to matter. So here's one of my leaders right here. So this one is just waiting for next time. So I'm going to put these together. Oops. Keep grabbing that needle. So these seams should nest, and that means that the seam allowances were pressed in the different directions. So those bumps of the fold should just kind of like bump against each other, and that kind of locks it in place. We're just going to sew, and I'm just going to worry about my 1/4 inch. I'm not going to worry too much about these seams being, you know, the points being just perfect. So we'll see how this goes. Ooh, I pulled a little thread out here. Let's move that out of the way. This is down and dirty sewing here. I'm not worried about perfection at all. I'm worried about getting her done. There's nothing perfect about this fabric or anything else. I'm not going to start now. I'm going to do my best to like just try and, you know, still get them aligned and everything, but I'm not, if things are off, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm sure there are efficiencies to sewing this together, but we're just going to do, just for the sake of keeping things in order when it's late on a Friday and I don't have 100% brain, we're going to just do the first 2 rows and then we're going to add on to it after that. All right, clockwise. So I'm going to grab the next 2. Amy's asking, do these feel huge compared to the granny squares? These are actually pretty similar size to the granny squares. I think these are maybe like 1 inch or so bigger. I think these are actually like around 10-inch blocks. Oh yeah, so that's 1 inch. The granny squares are 9-inch blocks. These are 10-ish. If I, you know, I think they're probably a little bit bigger, but if I was doing this in a perfect sense, in theory, these are 2.5-inch squares. So that would, 5 of those would give me, you know, 10.5 inches, which will end up being 10 inches in the quilt. So yeah, 10.5 inches, I guess, not 10. So they don't feel that much bigger than the granny square. They actually feel very similar. The comparison is like when we work on the Splendid Sampler. Those blocks seem so much smaller. The Aurifil block of the month, when we worked on those seemed like super large quilts. So you know what? I'm gonna veer from this already. I'm gonna take this first one that was that odd one, that one with only 3. I'm gonna just finish that up. I'm gonna sew the 3rd one onto there and then get that one out of the way because that one's gonna confuse me. So here's the top 2. Let's sew that 3rd layer onto it, 3rd row. Veering off course. I don't know if this is a good idea, but this was just the odd man out, and I didn't want to get confused later on. Alright, so this one's going to be just done. It's kind of feels the same as sewing the granny square quilt, though, because I'm like nesting a seam and then sewing up to the next seam, and a lot of starting and stopping. But, you know, so it feels familiar, I suppose. Alright, just trying to line up that seam. Stiletto is really helping for this. It's like an extra little pin, being able to hold a seam down like this. A skinny little pin finger, that's what it feels like. All of these, like I said, these are all clothes, so they all are completely made differently and they stretch differently. It's just a mess. That's why I'm not too worried about how they sew together. Like, I'm not worried about matching corners or any points or anything like that. That's just... This isn't the quilt to be worrying about that. Okay, I gotta remember that I'm going clockwise, so this is the next row. Oh, Linda, try going out and coming back in. I think we're still okay on my end here. What kind of quilt? Oh, yeah, quilt. Wanda, let me know what quilt you're working on. Just trying to peek at your comments here while I match this up blindly, I suppose, since I'm looking at the computer. I think I'm going to trim these. Usually I'll just trim the first one off and then sew the next thing on, but I think I'm going to trim all these off and just throw them with the rest of the grouping, so I just kind of know where they are, or they can just like live there, I guess. I think I'm still going to sew into groups, though. So instead of sewing like row number 3 onto these strips, I think I'm going to sew rows 3 and 4 together next. This is my last grouping for rows 1 and 2. We're going to get 4 complete blocks out of here. I think we're up to 14 then. Depending how long this takes, we'll see. We'll lay some out afterwards. You know, it also may have been smarter for me to just do these one at a time instead of trying to do 4 at once, because I don't want to have unfinished ones hanging out here, so we might just go till these are done. We'll see how long it takes. But I'm happy to have these out of the basket. They're taking up too much space again. Alright, so I'm going to just snip these off in order. So, okay, this is row number 1. I should be able to tell what direction they go in. Just because it's the same as the other ones. Okay, so this is the one of just 3. This is the extra, so that can just be away. And we'll worry about these 4. So I'm going in clockwise order, so this one will be up here. And then clockwise, so here. Sometimes I go by rows, like from left to right in each row, and I gotta remember that I'm going clockwise. So, okay. This guy goes here. And so I think I'm gonna just take row 2 and 3 now, because it's gonna be easier to sew just 2 rows together than like a big bulky bit and then 2 rows. So I'm just gonna actually fold this upwards right now and then grab it. Oh, Linda says I like when I go a little bit longer, yeah. This is the way we crafters like to spend our Friday nights. And now it's just more acceptable since everyone's used to staying home now. That's the deal. these. Alright, gonna grab square number 2. I think this is gonna be like just the comfiest little quilt though when we're done. I'll probably just make it lap size. Well, you know what? I'm just making it however it is, I suppose. Yeah, I guess I'll shoot for lap size. And like I said, I'm just gonna have it be all these triangles. I'm not gonna worry about doing a pattern. I kind of like the idea of all the triangles going in the same direction, and I probably won't have a border or anything. It'll just be, we'll throw some binding on it and call it a day. I don't know what the back will be either. I mean, this might actually be an opportunity for like an old sheet or something. Then it would go with the whole idea of that it's all recycled. I don't know, we'll see. That is way too far to be thinking ahead for this project. This is my magic project that only gets worked on, in little bouts like this, and then when I'm sewing other projects. This is a when it gets done situation. You know what? This is really just using my time better project. If I'm gonna sew like a little leader like this anyway, might as well make it something. So this is just the efficiency quilt, basically. So it makes me feel good working on it. And I'm slow motion recycling. That's what I'm doing too. I'm getting rid of these clothes. Slow motion recycling. All right, here's the last one, and then I'll snip them off again. Then I think I'll sew. What I should have done, and this is like, I knew I should have done this, but now I'm just realizing why again. I should, instead of sewing rows 3 and 4, I should have done row 4 and 5 and left the middle row, because now I could have sewn that middle row to the first ones that aren't on the machine, but instead I'm going to have to sew the last row onto the 3 and 4, but that's currently on my machine, so I'm gonna lose like one level of being able to cut this off and sew right away. If that makes sense. That's getting into the like efficiency sewing a bit more than I need to be. Get over there, seam. So the seam ripper, not doing seam rippers, but the stiletto that we're doing the pre-order for. If you guys are just coming in, Nolene says Alyssa's mission is the war against waste. Slow motion war against waste. Okay, this first one is actually from this last one here. But the stilettos that, if you're just coming in, I have the pre-order up now on the website, and I'm letting you guys know first before it gets in the email tomorrow, but we have the pre-order for the make your own like stiletto kit. Just like the one that I have here. I got some beads, and I think they're going to be really pretty. We don't have them quite yet, but they're the middle bead, like the big bead, the flat one that you hang on to, that's a really pretty turquoise. And then we have some stone-colored round beads for the end beads. And then we have some stoppers and stuff in there as well. I think it's going to be dang pretty. And it comes with the glue and stuff that you'll need, and the turkey lacer as well. So those little kits, the pre-order for those are on the website now. We'll be sending an email about them tomorrow, so you guys know first. And we'll ship them in the order that they're purchased when we get all the supplies in after the pre-order. But I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really fun. All right, so this is the last one. That one's still on the machine. All right, so I think we're going to sew... Yeah, we'll sew the 5th row to the 3 and 4 rows. Yeah, let's do that. I'll just have to take this one that's on the machine off to do this last one here. But I think that's going to be fun. Nice little project, nice little gifty project. But I'm pretty excited to see what the beads look like together. Oh, but what I was getting at was this first round. These first ones, the beads that I got for it are those pretty turquoise and the stone. So that'll be like a really really kind of classic, but really like pretty combo of beads. But if you guys like them and want more, then I might do some. Ooh, why aren't you going? I might do some like bright colored ones, or find some other fun beads. Haven't found any nice penguin and fish ones yet. maybe down the line we could get some penguin and fish beads made. That would be pretty rad. But yeah, so we might do some different ones at some point if you guys like these ones. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think they're going to be really fun, though, so we'll see. And, of course, we'll make them online here when they come in and all that, too. But I sure do appreciate it having one around here, that's for sure. I don't think I'm quite lined up here. It doesn't feel quite right. Yep, I am. I'm overlapped a little bit. Seam didn't quite bump up. Get in there. All right. This is the 3 and 4s attached to the row 5 of our second block. Yeah, after this round, we just have one more round, and they'll be done. I think we'll have time to like press them and everything yet too. That's good. I'd like to lay them out and see how many we have now. Our little fake magic quilt is coming along. Not fake quilt, but our magic quilt. Our magic quilt that's happening while we do other stuff. That's what's fun about it. Oh, that'd be awesome. Nolene says I should get a local potter or ceramicist to do penguin and fish beads. I was thinking about that actually for like some penguin and fish trays or something. That would be kind of a neat thing to commission a potter. I'd love to do all that stuff. Okie doke. Oh yeah, now I gotta take that first piece off to sew that last one. Well, let's just do that quick. So this is that last chunk of it here. Okay, yeah. Bloop. Then we can go around the circle again. And match up the last bits. Okay, good. We'll definitely get this done. I was thinking, oh man, maybe it wasn't smart to do all these all at once, but we're getting it done. Got a pile of fuzzles hanging out here. Should kind of get them out of the way. Ugh, I've already made a mess of it. Let's snip them. Where's this guy connected to? There we go. All right, let's go around the loop again. Okay, row square. square 1, square 2, three, and the last one's on the machine yet. Okay, so let's grab this first one. This is it now. I'm sewing the 1 and 2 to the rest of the group there. So these are the last 4 seams here, and then we can press. Man, all that work done, made into a block pretty quick. Oops, lost my scissors. Man, that guy's falling on the floor a lot. Poor little scissors. I don't think I can reach him either. We're gonna get purple scissors out instead. Okay, grabbing the next. Ooh, that's... Oh, man. Okay, so the little silicone bands have kind of worked their way off of the wheel. All right, so now it's gonna be our normal poor little wheel trying to do the work. Okay, I'm gonna just try and get that silicone band back on here quick. Ooh, where'd the other one go? Interesting. So those silicone bands have done like a great job. So what I'm doing is I bought these little silicone bands and I put them on my motor pulley and they're gripping my larger wheels so much more. Oh, I can see the other one on the floor. It flung across the room. So I put 2 on and they just got moved around just enough. But right now I just have the 1 on and I think that'll be fine for now, but I'll go grab that other one and put the 2 back on. There we go. Oh my god, they work like magic. That was such a good suggestion, you guys. Those silicone bands on the motor pulley. Kind of a unique problem, right? For these old machines. Not many machines have those motor pulleys. And no belt. But dang, I mean, it sounds so much better. It just is so good with that silicone band. Oh, cool. Amy says she pre-ordered 2. Yeah, flying bands. Watch out. Yeah, it was a little harder than I thought to find the 4-inch turkey lacers. Turkey lacers now come in like they're like 6 inches and 8 inches, and I'm like, yeah, 6 inches might be okay, but I like that I can get right down in here. So I think these 4-inch ones are awesome. So I did find some, but it was surprisingly a little bit more difficult than I was expecting. Alright, and I think I just have to take the one off of the front here. Oh yeah, I lost my scissors. Grab another one. Always nice to have several scissors in the near vicinity. I just have to do the last one here. And that'll be all 4. Okay. And this is it, and I guess we need another leader to take this off the machine. So now imagine this is a different project that we're working on. I will grab a light piece and a dark piece from my basket, and instead of like lifting up the presser foot and just pulling all those long threads and snipping them, instead I'll just take 2 pieces of fabric and start another leader, another square here. And that'll allow me to cut it off the machine without all those long strings, and I'll be starting more of these guys. All right, we have our 4. That's great. That means we had like 20 of these things. That's a lot. Okay, let's get the iron up here for the mat up here. Let's do this little, well, I don't need to do this one yet. So this is that one that I just had 3. I actually have another row started. So once we get these guys all cut up at some point, we'll just keep adding. We're gonna have a lot of these black and the black ones all of a sudden. So that'll be interesting. I've kind of done that, like we have a lot of these brown ones, and once I finish that shirt up, then we're out of that shirt and I have like this other shirt. So it's time to probably cut up more fabric as well in this process. But for now, so these ones I won't bother pressing for now. And these I might just like, they can hang out outside of the basket too. Okay, we have 4 real ones though done. So I'm just going to kind of press them all down, I guess, the seam allowances. Let's get the seams on that side. Smells like clothes. They're so bulky and weird. Our seams are not horribly not matched up. I mean, there's some that are shifted a little bit, but they're pretty good. I'm not mad at them. This is so... There's a lot of fabric back here. It's so chunky when I press the iron over. It doesn't really want to press well. I suspect I'll press these again before I sew them into something. Maybe I won't, actually, on this project. Before I like put a back on it or something, I would give it a good press. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I want to do for the back though. I could just cut up more clothing pieces and maybe just cut them into like, you know, I don't know, 6-inch squares and just have like a patchworky back. Then I'd be using more up, I suppose. Again, thinking too far ahead. For now, I'm just going to work on making these little squares, these little blocks like this, and occasionally lay them out again. And once they get big enough to look like a lap quilt of some sort, then I'll be like, okay, I think that's enough of this project. And then I'll work on the back. So maybe I will do like squares on the back too, and instead of sewing them into half square triangles, I'll sew them just into squares. Oh, I'm pressing this upside down. That's why it feels weird. Okay, let's start over. Oh, how did I sew the little squares? Linda, that's a great question. So so you saw me just sew the one square. So I had a light square and a dark square. What I'm doing is sewing them. You can see I'm not sewing on the actual diagonal. I'm sewing like a 1/4 inch away from the diagonal. So I sewed a 1/4 inch away from the diagonal on this side and a 1/4 inch from the diagonal on this side. So I have to actually flip it around and do it again. So I'm actually sewing 2 seams on here. Eventually I will slice it in half down the diagonal, so then it'll be like, one piece. I'll have like one piece on that side and I'll have like one piece on this side that are separated. And each one of those pieces, when I press them open, end up being a half square triangle. So we'll have one on this side, and again, it'll be cut down the middle there, and then we'll have one on this side. So at that point, I trimmed them to 2.5 inches. So my starting size, I'm starting with like 3-inch squares that I sew on those 2 diagonals, or the 1/4 inch from the diagonal. And then, I press them open, and they're smaller at this point. So I trimmed them to 2.5 inches, and then I just have a whole pile of these sitting around, and then I sew them into strips like this. And that's where I'm at now. I ran out of my pieces like this because I sewed them all into strips. And now I'm back to that step behind where I still have to cut these apart and press them. So we got some more here, but first I'm getting rid of all this bulk. I'm getting rid of all those squares, or those triangles that I sewed together. Just getting them out of the way. So these are like, they can just sit with my other finished blocks for now. Because I just kind of throw them all in my little basket here, and once all the stuff gets all over in here, it's hard to grab those little pieces that I need. Oh, did I sew the second block? So no, this is on accident. So these triangles are going in the other direction than these. It's because I wasn't paying attention to when I grabbed my original 2 pieces that I was sewing together. In my head, it didn't matter. It was always going to turn out right. But then I realized, oh, if I sew them in different directions, they end up in different directions, I suppose. So then I started to just make sure that I was sewing them all in the wrong direction. So there are a few strips that are wrong in this quilt. So those will be like little like Easter eggs for someone to find, I suppose. And I think they're all in these few sections. So like here's another one. I think in my other blocks I don't have any, or maybe I have like 1 or 2. But yeah, that was on accident. But then I'm like, I kind of like it. Adds to the patchworkiness of it all. But no, not intentional, but I kept it. So I suppose now it's intentional. This is so chunky. So there's a lot of fabric at these middle seams. Like all of these points are coming together there. So it makes sense that it's chunky. This is going to be a pain to sew together. Might just stitch in the ditch or something where well, that might even make it worse. I don't know. I'm not thinking that far. I don't know how I'll quilt this together yet. All right, so that is 4. I feel good about that. This is bulk that's out of the way again. So I want to see, where did I put them? Oh, on the floor. I want to just take a look at this. So let's just see how many I have of these. So these are the ones I have done. Oh yeah, there's another one that's the wrong way. So this was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, okay, so I had a little bit more than I thought I had. So we have 16 total now. All right, so that's a 4x4 at this point. I'm going to just, I'm going to lift up this camera a hair. Sorry if I'm making you guys dizzy, a little dizzy. I just kind of want to lay some of this out. Let's see what this is starting to look like. Again, I wanted to sew them all just so it's like a mass of triangles here. Like I'm not going to put any sashing. So when it's done, you won't be able to, I mean, you might be able to tell a little because of the shift in the colors of the fabric, but in theory, you won't really be able to tell that it was done with different blocks. It'll just look like one big thing of triangles, which is a little overwhelming, but I kind of like it too. All right, well here's a pile of it together. Not all of them. We got like 5 more in here. But we can start getting a feel of what it's going to look like. I kind of love it. This is all like old clothing, and this is just that we're working on it while we're working on these other projects. That's what I love about it. It's just a magic quilt. We really could actually start sewing these into rows, but we'll wait till we have enough and lay them all out and do that. But I'm excited for this. So this is kind of the plan. I could rotate a bunch, and you get a totally different look when you start rotating them. I mean, you can really, do some crazy optical illusion stuff to have some other shapes going on in here. But I do, that was just kind of, it was too much on the eyes. I thought it's already a lot on the eyes. So that's why I thought, let's just leave them all going the same direction here, except for the ones that I messed up on. But those are little itty bitties that you see. Cool. All right, you guys. So that is it for Finish It Friday. I am loving how project is turning out, and like I said, this project is coming out of nothing. All it takes is a couple little days like today, a couple little Finish It Fridays to move it along a little bit more. But this is a project that is just happening because we're just sewing one little square at the end of our other rows when we're doing other projects completely. So to me, I call it the magic quilt because it's coming out of fabric that doesn't really exist. It's old clothing, and it's coming out of time that doesn't really exist because I'm sewing it while I'm sewing other projects. So it's magic. I like it. So awesome, you guys. Thank you again. Do check out that pre-order for the Stiletto. I think this is going to be a really fun little gifty project for us. And maybe I'll get some more colors and we can just do like little collections of them or something. Would be kind of fun. And then also check out the embroidery of the month. We'll be starting that not next week, but the week after. So there's still time. Yeah, there's still time if you order a bundle to get it before we start it. We're doing the couching stitch, which we have not done here before on Penguin and Fish, I don't think. Maybe we've done it maybe once, hidden in some project. I don't know. So this whole entire project is almost all couching, except for the text on it. I'm excited. It's a fun technique. It's quick, and it's just... there's a lot of flexibility with it, so we'll dig into that idea as well. So I hope you guys participate in that. That'll be fun. So not next week. Next week will be the Splendid Sampler, Splendid Sampler 2, and then after that we'll do the Embroidery of the Month. So thank you guys again. I hope I see you around this weekend. Over on TikTok, and I've been doing more of those, and on everywhere else in the Facebook Penguin and Fish Crafters group. So great, you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Good night.